Are you wondering if you can overwinter your pepper plants and keep them thriving year after year? Then you're in the right place. Overwintering pepper plants is entirely possible, and I'm here to guide you through every step. Whether you're a novice gardener or a seasoned plant enthusiast, this guide is designed to help you keep your pepper plants alive and thriving through the chilly months. The goal is simple: protect your precious pepper plants from frost and ensure they're ready to bounce back in spring. We'll cover everything from timing and potting to the perfect indoor spot, and even how to deal with dormancy. Think of this as your ultimate pepper plant survival guide. So get your gardening gloves on and let's dive in. The timing of your efforts can make or break your pepper plant's chances of surviving the winter. It's crucial to keep a close eye on the weather forecast as temperatures begin to drop. The first rule of thumb is to move your pepper plants indoors before the first frost hits. Frost can cause severe damage to pepper plants, even if it's a light frost. Ideally, start thinking about the transition when nighttime temperatures consistently dip below 50 degrees Fahrenheit or 10 degrees Celsius. This usually happens in late fall, but it varies depending on your location. Waiting too long can stress the plants, making it harder for them to adapt to indoor conditions. To make the transition smoother, start reducing watering and avoid fertilizing your plants about 2 weeks before you plan to move them. This will help them prepare for the lower light and cooler temperatures they'll experience indoors. Think of it as a gentle nudge to start winding down for their winter nap. Remember, timing isn't just about avoiding frost. It's also about giving your plants enough time to adjust. A sudden change can shock them, leading to leaf drop and other stress symptoms. So, be proactive and keep an eye on that thermometer. Once you've nailed the timing, the next step is to pot up your pepper plants. Start by choosing the right pot. It should be large enough to accommodate the root system, but not so big that it retains too much moisture. A pot with drainage holes is a must to prevent waterlogging. Use a well-draining potting mix, ideally one with perlite or vermiculite to ensure good aeration. Gently remove the plant from the ground, being careful not to damage the roots. If the plant is already in a pot, you might need to transfer it to a slightly larger one to give it room to grow. When transferring the plant, handle it with care. Loosen the roots gently if they're compacted, and place it in the new pot at the same depth it was growing before. Fill around the roots with your potting mix, firming it gently but not packing it too tightly. The goal is to provide stability while allowing for root expansion. After potting, give your plant a good watering to help settle the soil around the roots. This initial watering is crucial for reducing transplant shock. However, be cautious not to overwater in the following days. Your plant will need time to adjust to its new environment. Now that your pepper plant is snug in its pot, finding the right indoor spot is key. Peppers love sunlight, so aim to place them in a location where they can get at least 6 to 8 hours of light a day. If you have a greenhouse, this is the perfect spot. If you don't have a greenhouse, a south-facing window is ideal for maximizing natural sunlight. If natural light is limited, consider supplementing with grow lights. These can provide the necessary light spectrum that your plants need to thrive. Position the lights about 6 to 12 inches above the plants and run them for 10 to 12 hours a day to mimic the longer daylight hours of summer. Temperature is another critical factor. Peppers prefer a stable environment with temperatures between 65 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit or 18 to 24 degrees Celsius. Avoid placing your plants near drafty windows, heaters, or air vents, as abrupt temperature changes can stress them out. Humidity is also important. Indoor air can be quite dry, especially with heating systems running. To combat this, you can place a humidity tray near your plants or use a room humidifier. Keeping the air slightly more humid will help your peppers stay healthy and reduce the chance of pest infestations. Watering indoor plants can be tricky, and pepper plants are no exception. The key is to keep the soil moist but not soggy. Overwatering can lead to root rot, while underwatering can cause wilting and leaf drop. A good rule of thumb is to water when the top inch of soil feels dry to the touch. Use room temperature water to avoid shocking the roots. Water thoroughly until you see water draining out of the bottom of the pot. then empty the saucer to prevent the roots from sitting in water. During the winter months, your plants will need less water than they did outdoors, so adjust your watering schedule accordingly. Fertilizing should be done sparingly during this time. In fact, it's best to stop fertilizing altogether once the plants are indoors. This helps them enter a state of dormancy, which is natural and beneficial during the winter. If you do choose to fertilize, use a balanced, water-soluble fertilizer at half strength and only do so once a month. Monitoring soil moisture regularly and adjusting as needed will keep your pepper plants happy. Remember, it's easier to add more water than to deal with the consequences of too much. So, when in doubt, err on the side of caution. Pruning your pepper plants is like giving them a much-needed haircut. It helps to remove any unhealthy parts and encourages new growth. Start by cutting away any dead or yellowing leaves, as these can become a breeding ground for pests and diseases. Next, trim any overly long or leggy branches. This will help the plant maintain a more compact shape and make it easier to manage indoors. Be sure to use clean, sharp scissors or pruning shears to make clean cuts and avoid damaging the plant. It's also a good idea to remove any flowers or small fruits. While it might be hard to part with these, doing so will help the plant conserve energy during the winter months. Think of it as lightening the load so your plant can focus on staying healthy. After pruning, keep an eye on the plant for any signs of stress or pest infestations. Pruning can sometimes make plants more vulnerable, so give them a little extra TLC during this time. As winter sets in, your pepper plants will naturally enter a state of dormancy. This is a period of rest where growth slows down and the plant conserves energy. To support this process, you'll need to adjust your care routine. Like I mentioned before, reduce watering significantly. The soil should be kept just barely moist. Overwatering during dormancy can lead to root rot, which is a common problem with indoor plants. Remember, the plant isn't actively growing, so it doesn't need as much water. Dormancy is not the time for active growth or fruit production, so there's no need for extra nutrients. In fact, fertilizing during this period can do more harm than good by promoting weak, leggy growth. Keep an eye on the plant's overall health. While it might not look as vibrant as in the growing season, it should remain stable. Yellowing leaves or excessive leaf drop could indicate a problem, such as pests or incorrect watering. Patience is key during dormancy. It might seem like your plant is just sitting there doing nothing, but it's actually gearing up for the next growing season. As the days lengthen and temperatures rise, your pepper plants will start to wake up from their winter slumber. This is the time to gradually reintroduce them to outdoor conditions. Start by placing them outside for a few hours each day, gradually increasing the time they spend outdoors over a couple of weeks. This process, known as hardening off, helps the plants acclimate to the brighter light, fluctuating temperatures, and wind. Sudden exposure to the full intensity of outdoor conditions can shock the plant, leading to leaf burn or stress. Resume regular watering and begin fertilizing with a balanced, water-soluble fertilizer to encourage new growth. Be on the lookout for any pests that might have taken up residence during the winter. Aphids, spider mites, and whiteflies are common culprits, so inspect your plants regularly. As new growth appears, you can also do some light pruning to shape the plant and remove any remaining dead or damaged branches. This will help direct the plant's energy into healthy, productive growth for the upcoming season. Successfully overwintering pepper plants is a rewarding endeavor that allows you to enjoy your favorite varieties year after year. By following the steps outlined in this guide, timing your actions, potting up properly, selecting the right indoor location, managing watering and fertilizing, pruning, handling dormancy, and reviving your plants in spring, you'll give your peppers the best chance to thrive. Remember, each plant is unique, and you might need to make adjustments based on your specific conditions. Gardening is a journey of learning and adapting, so don't be discouraged by any setbacks. With patience and care, you'll soon become a master at overwintering pepper plants. So keep those gardening gloves handy and enjoy the process. Your pepper plants will thank you with bountiful harvests and vibrant greenery. Happy gardening!